My in-laws kicked me out when my husband and my best friend had an affair and she got pregnant. Betrayed and Reborn. Chapter 1. The Unraveling. It was a rainy evening in late October when Samantha's world began to crumble. She sat by the window, watching droplets race down the glass, trying to lose herself in the mundane rhythm. Her husband, Michael, had been distant for months, his once loving demeanor replaced by cold detachment. She attributed it to the pressures of his job, hoping it was just a phase they would overcome. Their 5-year marriage had seen its share of ups and downs, but Samantha believed they were solid. They had built a life together, sharing dreams of a family and growing old side by side. Yet Michael's increasing absences and vague excuses started to gnaw at her. Samantha's best friend, Julia, was a constant presence in their lives. They had met in college and had been inseparable since. Julia was the sister Samantha never had, sharing in her joys and sorrows. The bond they shared made the betrayal all the more devastating. One fateful evening, Samantha decided to confront Michael about his behavior. She prepared his favorite meal, hoping the comfort of home-cooked food would soften whatever burden he carried. As they sat down to eat, the tension was palpable. She took a deep breath and asked, "Michael, what's been going on? You've been so distant lately." Michael sighed, avoiding her gaze. "It's just work, Sam. You know how it is." "Is it really just work? Because it feels like there's something more," she pressed, her voice tinged with desperation. His silence spoke volumes. Samantha's heart raced as she waited for him to say something, anything. But before Michael could respond, the doorbell rang. Julia stood there, her face pale and eyes red-rimmed from crying. Without a word, she walked in and sat down, her hands trembling. Samantha looked at her best friend, confused and worried. "Julia, what's wrong?" Julia took a deep breath and looked at Michael before turning her tear-filled eyes to Samantha. "Sam, I have to tell you something. Michael and I, we've been seeing each other." The words hung in the air like a poisonous cloud. Samantha's world spun, and she felt like the ground had been ripped out from under her. "What are you saying?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. Michael finally spoke, his voice a mixture of guilt and resignation. "It's true, Sam. I'm sorry. Julia's pregnant." Chapter 2. Cast Aside. The shock of the revelation left Samantha numb. She couldn't process the betrayal by the two people she trusted the most. Her marriage was shattered, and her best friend had become her worst enemy. As the days passed, the initial numbness gave way to anger and heartbreak. Michael's parents, always judgmental and critical of Samantha, saw this as an opportunity to drive a wedge between them. They had never truly accepted her, always hoping Michael would marry someone from their affluent social circle. They blamed Samantha for Michael's infidelity, claiming she wasn't a good enough wife. One cold morning, Samantha found herself standing outside her home, a suitcase by her side, as Michael and his parents demanded she leave. "You need to give Michael space to figure things out," his mother said, her tone dripping with condescension. Michael stood silently, unable to meet her eyes. The man she had loved and trusted was now a stranger. With nowhere else to go, Samantha turned to her own family. Her parents welcomed her with open arms, providing a safe haven as she navigated the storm of emotions and betrayal. Chapter 3. Picking Up the Pieces. The first few weeks were the hardest. Samantha oscillated between anger, grief, and a profound sense of loss. Her dreams of a happy family were shattered, and the people she loved the most had betrayed her in the worst way possible. She felt like a shell of her former self, lost and adrift. Her parents and a few close friends became her pillars of strength. They encouraged her to seek therapy, and she began to see a counselor, Dr. Henderson. Through therapy, Samantha started to understand that Michael's actions were not a reflection of her worth. Dr. Henderson helped her find ways to cope with her pain and rebuild her self-esteem. During one session, Dr. Henderson asked, "What do you want for yourself, Samantha?" The question seemed simple, but it opened a floodgate of emotions. "I want to be happy again," she replied, tears streaming down her face. "I want to feel whole." Dr. Henderson nodded. "Happiness and wholeness are within your reach. It's about finding what truly matters to you and building a life around it." Chapter 4. Rebuilding. Determined to reclaim her life, Samantha decided to start fresh. She found a job in a new city, far away from the painful memories. Moving was daunting, but it also symbolized a new beginning. She rented a small apartment and focused on building a new life for herself. In her new city, Samantha joined a book club and started taking yoga classes. She made new friends who appreciated her for who she was. Slowly but surely, she began to find joy in her independence. She discovered a passion for painting, using it as an outlet to express her emotions. One evening, while attending a gallery opening, Samantha struck up a conversation with an artist named Claire. They bonded over their love for art and soon became close friends. Claire introduced Samantha to a community of artists and creatives, helping her feel more at home in her new city. Chapter 5. New Beginnings. One day, at a local coffee shop, Samantha met Ethan. He was kind, attentive, and had an easygoing nature that put her at ease. They bonded over their love for literature and the outdoors. Ethan was patient, understanding that Samantha needed time to trust again. As months turned into years, Samantha's wounds healed. She and Ethan grew closer, and she found herself falling in love again. This time, it was different. It was built on mutual respect, trust, and a genuine connection. Ethan supported Samantha's passion for painting, encouraging her to showcase her work at local galleries. He admired her strength and resilience, often reminding her of how far she had come. Together, they explored new places, hiked through scenic trails, and enjoyed quiet evenings reading by the fireplace. Chapter 6. Closure. Years later, Samantha received a letter from Julia. She apologized for the pain she caused and shared that her relationship with Michael had fallen apart. Julia admitted that their affair was a mistake and expressed her regret. Samantha read the letter with a sense of closure. She had moved on and was happy in her new life. She didn't need an apology to heal, but it felt good to know that Julia acknowledged her wrongdoing. She decided to respond with a brief, compassionate note, wishing Julia well. Epilogue. Reborn. Samantha stood on the balcony of her new home, looking out at the sunset. Ethan joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. She had been through hell and back, but she emerged stronger and more resilient. Life had a way of breaking and remaking people, and Samantha was living proof that even in the darkest times, there was always a chance for a new beginning. She had found happiness within herself and with Ethan, and for the first time in a long while, she felt at peace. Together, they built a life filled with love, creativity, and mutual respect. Samantha's journey from betrayal to rebirth was a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of self-discovery. She had faced her darkest fears and emerged victorious, ready to embrace whatever the future held. Betrayed and Reborn is an emotional journey of Samantha, a woman whose life is turned upside down when she discovers her husband and best friend have betrayed her. Cast aside by her in-laws and grappling with the end of her marriage, Samantha must navigate a world of pain and heartbreak. Through therapy, the support of her family, and a move to a new city, she begins to rebuild her life. Along the way, she discovers new passions, forms meaningful friendships, and eventually finds love again with a kind and understanding man named Ethan. This story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of self-discovery and healing. Follow Samantha's journey from betrayal to rebirth and witness how she reclaims her happiness and peace.